Welcome back, reality designers, to another episode of Hypnosis by Design. I'm your host, Deni Van. Today, I want to talk about a topic that I keep seeing around the human design community about manifestors and needing rest. So, as a manifestor, I've heard about this, you you should rest, and people talking about this rest thing, right? Because we're not sacral beings. We don't have the energy. We don't get the energy that others do. I want to clarify some things today. First, I want to talk about the 7 types of rest that all energy types can take advantage of. But first, as manifestors, this specific perspective from what others are talking about needing to rest. So the natural state of manifestors is peace. So for generators, your natural state is satisfaction. Your not self is frustration. So for manifestors, our natural state is peace, and our not self is anger. So, what we want to do is come to a really good understanding of what this piece is and why rest isn't always the answer. So, this topic of rest, specifically this topic of rest going around for manifestors in human design, got me thinking. All right, so I'm thinking about this and I'm thinking, something's not right here. Everybody needs rest. All energy types need rest. But with human design emphasizing the unique energy and the energy types and the various roles that they play, manifestors are inherently designed to initiate action and then bring about change in the world. So sometimes this initiation doesn't require us to do anything. I might meet someone and then later said, when I met you, my whole life changed. I must have said something, did something. I initiated something within them. And next thing I know, they're off doing something. So it's not something we consciously do. It's something that is on a deeper unconscious level. So this wide misunderstanding or myth around rest and inactivity, those kind of things. I want to really go deeper and in more decoding of what manifestor energy is and isn't. And yes, we are designed to initiate action, bring about change in the world, and our true state is peace. And I could be at peace even though chaos is happening all around me. So it might not look like I'm at rest on the outside, but it doesn't matter what's happening on the outside. What's most important is what's happening on the inside. Am I in a true state of peace as opposed to passivity? So societal conditioning might pressure manifestors away from their natural state of peace, making our energy small. So if you make a manifestor's energy small, like who do you think you are? You don't act like the rest of us. You need to do this, this, and this, telling a manifestor what to do. What that energetically does is it restricts and confines and makes our energy is huge. It makes it very small, and that making it small can create a wanna busting out at the seams. So this is where the anger comes from building up the pressure of trying to make our energy small. And this will bring up, anger, but this rest, this true rest, because with true rest and being at peace, this is how manifestors can recharge. And let's just say, for example, um, finding that inner peace, that inner knowing, that inner self-awareness, being okay in your skin, in your body, while there's all kinds of things going on in your environment, and the stress and the anxiety that can arise from resisting the natural nature of what's happening. I could give examples, but let's just say, for example, you've probably experienced, you have to get to work on time. We're having weather conditions in Chicago. I have to leave at a certain time or I get the school bus and I end up stopped behind a school bus. You have all of these things, these thoughts going on in your head. Now you're driving and there's other people around you that might be affecting your driving and where you want to go. So all of these things are happening and they're natural to the environment. They're going to happen. I have a choice as a manifester. I can think, I'm going to be late. I don't have enough time. This person is in my way. What this does is it creates a state of not peace. So, what I'm doing energetically is I'm making my energy small, or I could be bleeding out my energy, making me tired or even exhausted. So, when I pay attention to that, the things that I go through on an everyday ritual, if you will, those are the things that are going to happen. How I respond or react to them determines whether I am at peace on the inside or I am not. And I've read manifestors who say, I have to be at rest, but I'm not getting rest because I'm thinking about this. I'm watching, a whole series on Netflix and it's bringing up cortisol or emotions. So they're not at true rest. You could be doing things and be at rest because you're in your true state of peace. You could be at complete rest physically doing nothing, but if inside you're not at true peace, you are not truly resting. So, this is where it's very important to recognize how your body's reacting and what's going on because these practices can help you realign with your natural state of peace. And it can be challenging, but experimenting and trying out different solutions and finding that space within you, regardless of what's happening in your environment. I've had paramedics tell me they couldn't believe how calm I was in a situation. And I was there. Um, I had shown up after all of it all happened for language services, and they couldn't believe how calm I was. If I started thinking about the situation and what was happening, I could easily have gone into another state other than being centered and at peace with where I'm at. So, this is a very powerful place to be if you can shift into it. And there are definitely effective strategies for handling this boundary of peace because our energy extends out. And if I can imagine there's boundaries to it, and that's where my energy extends out, and then I fill that space that I created with my energy, I fill it with peace. And then anybody who comes into my energy feels the peace before they even meet me. So, do you see how powerful of a space this can create within your environment? And, we're all going to have temporary disruptions to our peace, especially when you begin to set boundaries. The moment you start setting boundaries, if you're not used to setting boundaries, you're going to get pushback. So find that space where you can receive that pushback without reacting to it, because there's definitely tools available. So I want to talk about 7 types of rest. And these 7 types of rest are really needed universally. So, if you can understand and apply these 7 types of rest to your daily routines and check in. Do I need this kind of rest? So, we're going to get right into it. First of all, there's physical rest. Who doesn't need physical rest? It is so important to rest your body. Even rest your body from sitting, because sitting, especially wrong, it can put tremendous stress on the body. So we want to rest the body, physical rest. And regardless of your energy type, but for manifestors, it's to recharge this initiating energy that we have. And recharging in ways like getting selfish with your sleep routine, creating a sleep routine, and then get selfish with it. Do it every night for yourself. And see if your routine can include cat naps, 15, 20-minute naps to help you breathe, center yourself. And of course, exercise. For many energy types, exercise actually creates more energy within their energy being. And but for others, a massage is energizing. And even for others, yoga is energizing. So listen to your body and your energy type. And number one, physical rest is so important. And signs you need it: lack of physical energy. Maybe you get sick a little bit more often. Maybe have more pain or soreness. And you can get selfish with your sleep routine. Get a minimum of what your body needs. My body needs a minimum of 7 hours. For others, that might be 8 hours or maybe even 9 or 10 hours. Listen to your body. Now, there may be some days where I can go 7 hours, but then I might need a sixth, or on the sixth or seventh day, I might need 9 hours. So I'm listening to my body for that extra needed sleep it might need. And breathing, definitely. Get with breathing to help calm the body, relax the muscles, relax any tightness in the body. Next of the seven is mental rest. And especially if you have maybe an undefined head center or ajna center, mental breaks to clear your mind and process information. Give yourself time to process information. We are receiving information all the time. We are on information overload. You need a mental rest to process that information. Let go of what doesn't serve, organize, file, keep whatever information you want to keep. So, meditation, focused work sessions, putting a timer on for 50 minutes and then taking a 10-minute break. Those things experiment with so that you can allow yourself to have those mental breaks when you need them. And you can do this by listening to music. Now, for me, I don't like to listen to music, I like quiet. So pay attention to how your body likes to receive a mental rest break. And when you need it, when you're lacking mental energy, that's a big one. Feeling that mental fog, maybe getting irritated or snapping easily. And you can block times. You don't need a lot of time. Sometimes just 10 minutes. We have a 10-minute reclaim your focus meditation. So take that 10 minutes out for some time to do that work without distraction. Take that time for yourself. The next kind of rest is emotional rest. Now, I'm an emotional authority, and emotional rest is so important because processing emotions and then setting boundaries to avoid emotional overwhelm could include practices like journaling. Some people like therapy, talking about it, therapy, those kind of things. Others like spending time in nature. And when you know you need emotional rest is when you might be experiencing maybe excessive worrying or anxiety, or maybe some self doubt, feelings of insecurity, feeling overwhelmed by other people's drama. Whatever that is, find some time in nature, journaling, listening to music. Schedule that time in if you need emotional breaks, emotional rest. And then next is spiritual rest. Now, your inner purpose, your inner compass, your sense of inner peace. This is what I mean by spiritual rest. Sometimes we're so much in the outer world, we forget to make some space, some quiet, some time for the inner world, meditation. I love drumming. I'm a closet musician, drumming in a meditative state. I do timing of 7, so my mind is so used to timing of 4. I'll do a timing of 7, and this really puts myself in a meditative state that my mind is not expecting. So engage in meaningful activities. Find what works for you. And again, this is where experimenting is so important. Find what works for you. And signs you need it: lack of motivation, feeling helpless, hopeless, trapped, unsatisfied. So, this is when you need some spiritual rest. These are symptoms showing that you need some spiritual rest. Schedule time for it, make it a practice. And regardless of your energy type, but speaking especially to manifestors, because you want to connect with that inner purpose, because that inner purpose is what's going to go out in your ever extending energy. Next is social rest, and this might include some social media rest. So it is so important to choose how you socially interact and feel energized and supportive by the interactions that you create, and then setting boundaries in draining relationships. If you're around someone that just drains you, it's okay to set boundaries. And you know you need social rest when you're feeling alone and maybe a little detached from family and friends, maybe feeling drained by the people you're with. So it's okay to take a social rest and schedule times to be social. For me as a manifester, I look forward to scheduling social times. I love going to sign language deaf coffee chat and meeting those people in the deaf community. That's social. I love doing those things. So find what works for you and it's not draining for you. You want to be energized with the people that you're with, because if you're not, then it's time for a social rest. And that includes social media. All right, so next is a sensory rest. And this is minimizing sensory overload. And you want to create a calming environment. So I myself, um, I do suffer from auditory sensory overload. So let's say I'm doing a language interpreting situation and I'm trying to listen in one language so that I can interpret in another, but there's all kinds of background noise happening. I tend to get sensory overload, auditory sensory overload. So I have to pay attention when I start to get sensory tired, overloaded. Take a moment, recognize, okay, my auditory sense is now in overdrive because my body just wants to kind of cut off and go inside, right? So I recognize that there's a need for a sensory rest. And depending on your needs, there could be minimizing screen time, whether that's watching TV or watching the computer, and engaging in meaningful sensory experiences. And that could be playing an instrument, the piano, a guitar. It could be sewing, threading, knitting, those kind of things, sensory experiences. And you need a break. You need a sensory rest when you're feeling that eye fatigue or strain. You're sensitive to loud noises. Um, you can't tell or smell. You're not smelling as well as you should, or maybe tasting your food. You're hungry, but you're just shoveling it in. You're not actually tasting your food. It's time for a sensory rest. All right, so the next one is a creative rest. So, we have these inspirations that spark joy and, spending time in nature, exploring new hobbies, or simply allowing for whatever to happen. Unstructured playtime. So allow yourself to experiment with that. And need for playtime and creative rest, signs you need it. You might have no free time during your day. Maybe you're supposed to be brainstorming with your team and you're struggling to brainstorm. You're out in nature and it's just the most gorgeous sunset ever, and you just don't see the awe in it anymore. So these are signs that you need a creative rest, that it's time to look at things with new sensory input, new set of eyes, new set of ears, hear it from a different perspective, see it, feel it, taste it from a different perspective. All right, so I talked about this rest thing with manifestors, and really it's not a passive thing. It's not just you're laying around doing nothing. What's really important for rest and manifestors is, are you at peace on the inside? If you are at peace on the inside, you are in a state of resting. No matter what's happening in your three-dimensional reality, no matter what's happening on the outside, this is a true state of rest. And then making sure that these 7 types of rest are also included in your life, making sure you're getting those types of rest and finding that balance regardless of your energy type. All right, so with that said, I definitely want to hear from you. I want to know what you loved, and I want to know what you would love more of. And in the meantime, I look forward to the next episode, and I will be getting your questions and answering any questions you have in the next episode. In the meantime, keep being amazing.